Stand by, everybody. Yeah, Charlie, you haven't got your hammer, mate. Where's your hammer? Somebody find him his bleeding hammer. Yeah, okay, and action.
You from the Cambridge Evening News?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm up here on the 3rd floor.
Now, come in and sit yourself down. Now, I'm sorry I said no to the pub, but I'm a bit pressed for time because this here box, which is what it's all about, the client's coming to collect it this afternoon to take it back to the States. You may not be aware, but I have a little arrangement with your editor whereby if I dig up anything that's interesting, I like to shove it his way. And as I said to him earlier, what I've got in this here box, well, scoop, don't begin to describe it. So get out your notepad and start scribbling, eh? Now, this all started a couple of weeks back when I took on a new client, American, female. It sat right where you're sitting now, dressed real classy. Said she was over here from the Lyndon Baines Johnson University to recover an item of stolen property. The item had been nicked, she said, from their Museum of Historical Curiosities. Of course, I'd never heard of it, but according to her, it was world famous for all sorts of stuff. Yeah, like the actual brush that Michelangelo had used to paint the Sistine Chapel with. The arrow that had killed King Harold at the Battle of Hastings. Oh yeah, and the amputated arm of Horatio Nelson. Now, as she explained it, this wasn't the first time they'd been done over, because last year the same bloke had had one of Queen Victoria's corsets. So when I asked her to describe the item in question, she rummages in her handbag and pulls out a photograph. So I'm looking at it, I'm turning it this way, I'm turning it that. I can't make head or bleeding tail of it. And I have to say, what is this? And she says, hold on. Snoopers Anonymous. I thought you'd written all this down. Yeah. 3rd floor, room 311. No key, the client will leave the door on the latch. You've got your camera in your hand, you push through the door, he'll be there with his trousers round his ankles and her kneeling in front of him. Say cheese, press the button and Bob's your uncle, job's done. You leave him to it and scarper. Yeah, right. New lad I've just taken on, a bit wet round the ears. So, where was I? Oh, yeah, this woman. So I'm just about to ask her, did the perpetrator provide a ransom note when, lo and behold, she pulls it out. £10,000 reward offered for return of missing relic. And it says, place the above in the personal columns of the Cambridge Evening News. Why Cambridge, you might ask? Does that mean that the thief's a Cambridge lad? Not necessarily. In the opinion of the client, it's more likely that the thing itself has an association with the university. And what is that, I ask her? It's all go this morning, isn't it? Snoopers Anonymous. Mrs. Armitage, good morning, yes. Now, Mrs. Armitage, how frequently does your husband go down the allotment, eh? Yes, but the device was only installed there yesterday afternoon. What's needed is a little bit of patience, my love. Now, don't you worry, as soon as I hear something, I shall ring you. Right. Last week she found a packet of condoms in her husband's allotment shed. Ooh. As I was saying, having received their instructions, last night the item appeared in the personal columns of your paper. First thing this morning, I'm sitting here and the phone rings. Snoopers Anonymous?
Am I speaking to Mr. Henry Robbins?
Yeah, the man himself. And you are?
Let's say Don Corleone. I'm told via the Cambridge Evening News you've been trying to contact me.
Concerning an item you've got for sale, yes, we have.
You're aware of my terms, are you?
10,000 smackers in used notes, if I heard it right.
Precisely. Now, the question is where to make the drop.
Have you got somewhere in mind?
Are you familiar with King's Parade?
Like the back of my hand.
Tomorrow morning at 12 o'clock precisely, I want to see you standing alone outside the railings of the Senate House. For the purposes of identification, we shall both be wearing floral buttonholes. There are 2 stone benches, one to your left, the other to your right. You will sit yourself down on the first one of these to become unoccupied. Have you followed me thus far, Mr. Robbins? Oh, no problem, Godfather. You will then take the carrier bag containing your donation and place it in the middle of the bench. I can see you've done this before. You betcha. When I sit myself down beside you, you will neither look nor communicate with me in any way whatsoever. Am I clear? Like crystal. The small black box that I carry in my hand I will place beside the bag. Then, after a minute or so, I will pick up the bag, rise, and depart. Any questions? Sounds clear enough to me, mate. Good.
So there it is. Shall I show it to you? Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I got given these by the client in case I had to handle it. Yeah. 20 years in the Cambridge Constabulary, 10 running Snoopers Anonymous. I've never met or seen anything like this. This is the actual apple that fell on the head of Sir Isaac Newton in the year 1666. You'll observe that it's been partly consumed. According to my client, that's because as he was sitting there trying to work out the laws of gravity, he come over a bit peckish-like and ate it. How do we know this? Because the museum had it tested. Yet they compared the teeth marks on it with Sir Isaac's DNA and discovered Newton's gnashes were all over it. So what do you make of that? I've got someone with me at the minute. Hang on. Yeah, I won't keep you, but tell your boss I'll send him round some pictures, all right? Snoopers Anonymous. What can I do for you, sir?
So it's now running.
Your zip is undone.
Fucker.
Don't worry, we'll leave it in.
Not a guess. Let's try and control myself.